Well, everyone, welcome here for the 2023 Lismore Knockout Wrap. Gingie.
That's got to be the most boring entry I've ever seen into our podcast all year. We're changing it up, and Les said, let me do the intro tonight. I'm just going to say to all our viewing audience, that was the most boring introduction to our podcast all year. We even we had to come up with a different name because it's not the intro.
No, you said keep it relaxed, and
we're chilling. We're chilling.
Relaxed.
Tonight is chill night, people. We hope you enjoy the night. It's a bit of a kickback night.
I've been sacked already.
It's not the NRRL wrap. Tonight is the Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League Knockout
2023
wrap. So now that we got the intro right, because that was such a boring one, the first one.
I've been sacked already.
He's been definitely 100% gone. So we're going to talk tonight about the knockout on the weekend, the Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League Knockout for 2023, held at the first major event to be held at the new, and I say new, revamped, upgraded Oaks Oval and Crozier Oval Sports Precinct. There you go, Lismore City Council. If you haven't already named it, I think we've done it for you. We may want to have a look at the renaming. We may even want to give it a bit of a cultural spin to it. If you want to name
Gingie and the Big Fox Complex.
No, we actually are going to call the stand's going to be renamed to the Gingie and Foxy Stand.
Yeah. And CAC.
And CAC.
CAC
yeah,
stuff.
We can't forget the CAC stuff.
The CAC
We're going to did you tell her what the podcast details are? So she said she wanted to start hooking up.
No, you got a number. We'll send it to her.
Oh, shit, I did.
We'll send her the link.
Yeah, we did. We'll send you CAC. We'll send you the link tonight, and you can join into the podcast at least for the next. I think we've got this. This will be our podcast free flow from the knockout on the weekend. I'm not going to give a podcast next week unless it's a fishing podcast because I'm going fishing Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week. We could do a fishing podcast, which we probably get Goffy involved in that because he loves a bit of fishing. I don't know how he fits in that.
Can't catch anything.
I don't know how he fits in that tinny that he's got out the side. But anyway, so next week we won't be podcasting. I think for the reason being is that we're going to come back from the big knockout and we're going to do something different. We'll actually even do some footage down there on our phones. Les can do a bit of a footage on the phone down there with the team that he's with, and I'll go out and do some randoms. We'll flick that back to the media manager, Goffy. He can cut it up, and then we'll spit it out.
Yeah.
How's that sound, Goffy?
You give me
so
an
that
week. I thought this was it, but you give me
well, we were
show.
planning, as the golf meister would know, we were planning to be there live at the big knockout. And I guarantee you, if the big knockout organisers are looking at us right now, I'll tell you what, the Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout have hit the milestone. High fives, Gus. High five. Boof. 70,000 hits between, Friday,
Saturday,
12 o'clock,
Sunday.
12 o'clock Friday afternoon, and by close of business Sunday night.
Oh, still going. It's still going.
And it's still going. But by that time, we're up to 70,000 hits. How good was that, Foxy?
Mate, that is
What'd you think?
sensational.
What do you think?
That's unbelievable.
You liked it?
Like it was. I heard it was down low, the ratings, until the Big Fox come back from playing, and it just skyrocketed.
Well, as everyone would know, the Big Fox Meister wasn't there on Friday, so it was me and the Cackster, Karen Jarrett, Cack Jarrett.
Didn't she do a great job?
We did the Friday women's competition, and we will get into all of the parts of the competition. And then the Foxy made a special guest reappearance on Saturday, but he also had a spin on it because he had to play. So we're going to get some footage of the Big Fox here tonight.
No, please don't. I've already been.
There will be some
about,
footage played out tonight. You will actually
close
start to see, and we're going to cut it right down in the pieces about what he was actually doing on the field. We want to know still.
What wasn't he? What did he do?
In his 3-minute stints, 2 hit-ups, 1 tackle and off is what we sort of summed it up to be.
How are my ribs still sore today? And I only did
Mate, you know what? I'm going to tell you why.
Sione.
For those people that watched the Big Fox take part in the event on the weekend for the Cabbage Island team, there was a point in the game where he thought he'd take a hit up, and he got lifted.
And I tried to pass it.
He tried to pass it. He dropped it. He then went back to the scrum, and we got a very good close-up of the Fox in that scrum.
Oh, no.
And there's a bit of commentary that goes along with that. So what I'm going to do, based on tonight's podcast, is I'm actually going to do a montage of the Foxy's game. He played 2 games on the weekend. He was very successful. He won through the first game. He played the second game, to which he got towelled up. And I want to do a bit of a montage of Foxy's biggest moments.
Can we not?
And I want the commentary components of that to be a part of that
You do
montage.
realise that they pay back next year.
Well, we will go out and make the announcement. For those people that did watch the Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout for 2023,
Stream.
they're on the live stream on Mark Goff Media Sport, as always, the best media sport in the whole history of media sport. You will see there was a statement that was made. And in that statement, that next year, the Gingie will be making his comeback on the field as a player in the Bungeroy Connection team. So it's a Binge Meister team.
I should have videoed you walking in the house.
I'm going to get an opportunity to play with my 3 sons, Chris, Caleb, and Kyle Maui Binge. We will be taking part, and we will have a sidekick front row. He's going to give us a little bit more than what he gave. He's going to do a bit of hard work
I'm
between
going to
now.
be training all year.
Mate, I reckon by then, you're probably going to be with a 13 on your back.
I'm going to be blitzing it. I'm going to be blitzing
So,
it. By then.
stay tuned, guys. You will see that event next year unfold. So, the Bungeroy Connection team will be taking part in next year's Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout. And you've heard it here first and live on the, podcast of the Lismore Aboriginal run that all back. The Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout KO wrap that the Bungeroy Connection team will be playing next year.
Hey, Goff, do you think we can get some player mics or something?
Can we? Is there any chance?
Can we mic Bingy up while he's playing?
Yeah, no, I actually would like that. So there you go. That there will be a third edition to this whole event unfolding.
I already know what it's going to sound like.
I will be officially. Goffy's got 12 months to work this out. I'll be officially mic'd up at the event on the field. Look, I'm not making any bold predictions about winning and all the other bits and pieces and what I know I'm going to do and how good I'm going to play. Backed up by, if I don't, if anyone tries to whack me, I've got 3 sons that'll back that up. So, and the Fox, by the way. So, watch this space.
My great tackling
watch
on the
this space, podcasters. The Bungeroy Connection team. Bring it on, 2024, Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout.
All right, let's get into it, eh?
So, look, we're going to go first and talk about the women's event, to which you weren't there, but I think you've seen the footage.
I've seen the footage.
So, we had 6 teams this year, Leslie, participate in the Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout down here at Oaks Oval in the women's side of the draw. I will name the 2 teams that played in the final, but I'm going to let you go now and talk to the women's side of the draw, and let's make special mention of these teams.
Yep. So in the first game, mate, we had in field 1 at 12 o'clock was the Tweed Connection Stingrays up against the Nullingar Dubs United.
That was a good game. You will see in the footage behind us tonight that that game, mate. I think, look, it was a good opportunity for us to have the first look at the Nullingar Dubs United team, which is a team that's been pulled together representing the Bundjalung area, all the women that are involved in that. You've got Alinta Hippai, who's the coach, with Alwyn Roberts, 2 very well-versed, I think, coaches that are now pull this team together from the whole of the Bundjalung region, from the Tweed to the south and, to the Clarence to the north, out through to Western Bundjalung, out to Tabulum and Kyogle, Casino, down through to Coracai, out through to Evans Head, right back up through to Ballina. Mm-hmm. So the players that took part in that team are all from those regions. And this team will be participating in this year's big knockout, the Koori knockout, which is 2 weeks away. And I it's again, it's our first chance to have a look at that team, and I'm telling you now, I was pretty damn impressed.
So they win that one
Yeah,
comfortably?
mate, they won that one comfortably, and they went through to the second round.
So they went through to the second round. And in the second game was and my apologies if I pronounce this wrong, the Dungari Badare.
Dungari Dolphins.
I pronounced it wrong all weekend probably.
Badare.
Badare.
Yeah, Badare.
Dungari Badare team.
I've learned how to talk Dungari.
Beautiful. They played the Patsy Gordon Memorial side.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go out there. This was a bloody good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. It wasn't a blowout. Very closely contested. Patsy Gordon Memorial team jumped out of the blocks really well. The Dungari Badare team, for the whole event, this is pretty big. For the whole event, from game one right through to the final, they had 13, 14, 16 players. They had 3 players on the bench.
Big effort.
And all the other teams had 25. So 12 on the bench for the other teams. They got through this game. They came back late in the second half, but once they gained the ascendancy, there was no bringing them back, mate. They were good. Very well versed. They had a bunch of girls, which CAC told us on the weekend, that have played semi-finals in the... So Group 3 and Group 2 have a combined competition in the women's. They've got about 8 teams. These girls play for one team, Nambucca. CAC coaches the Nambucca team, and then obviously the other team was the Macleay Valley Mustangs. So those 2 teams basically combined. And out of that, they've come up with the Dungari Badare team. And look, as I said, 17 players all weekend. Hold your heads high, girls. You guys did great.
So they ended up winning and going through. And the 2 teams that had a bye and went straight through the second round was the Norma Collins Memorial side and the Cabbage Tree Island side.
So the Shorty Memorial, Norma Collins Memorial.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Yep. And they end up playing the winners of which were the Nullingar Dubs.
Yep.
In round 2.
Yep. So it was a bit of an interesting game, that one, Leslie. I'll tell you why. It was very closely emulated the NRRL Grand Final in Northern United v Macleay, the lower girls. But both teams had a number of players that took part in that game. And I thought, look, it was going to be pretty close and pretty tight, and it was probably for the first 15 minutes. But, mate, that Nullingar Dubs team, Phoenix Hippo, was absolutely sensational. Kari Williams just steered the ship. Daisy Gordon was absolutely brilliant the whole tournament. But yeah, she was good. Savannah Robert Tickling, one of the youngest players in the event, playing at 6, ball player. She was outstanding. So look, they had a number, but their forward pack, mate, was dominant.
So they went on to win that one.
They did, mate. They went on to win that, and then they went on to play the grand final on this Sunday afternoon.
And the second game in round 2 was the Dungari Badare side versus Cabbage Tree Island.
Interesting game. Another very close game.
I saw the highlights of this one.
Dungari Badare they were lucky to get away with this. Cabbage Tree Island was good.
This one went down to the wire.
This one went right down to the wire. Cabbage Tree Island, I thought, for 35 minutes of the 40-minute game, I thought they were the better team. I thought they looked more dominant. Their forward pack was just absolutely crunching. And they had a lot of good experience in there as well. I thought they were unlucky to win, and I think they were very disappointed by their efforts in the end.
They had a chance there to win at the end too. They just ran out of time. They had attacking the line. But congratulations to the
Dungari Badare team went through to the final,
They went through the final to play against the Nullingar.
Yeah, mate, and look, to be totally honest, this game as well, up until the 20-minute mark, I think it was 6-all. It was actually 6-all at half time.
A very hot day.
30 would have been high 20s, early 30s. But I think at half time, me and you actually said,
I think we brought in the 2-minute drink break rule.
Yeah, they did.
It was a bit hot.
So it was 6-all at half time. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know what was said I don't know what was said at half time by the Nullingar Dubs coaching staff. But I'll tell you now, man, they jumped out of the blocks, and their next 20-minute phase was scintillating. Daisy Gordon, absolutely brilliant.
She was great.
Savannah Roberts Ickling, brilliantly in leading that team around the park. Kari Williams' leadership, brilliant. Their forward pack, very, very good and very, very dominant. Those outside backs that I just talked about could not have done what they did in the back end of that game.
And their bench too.
And their bench was
good, wasn't it?
Mate, they had Claire, and I think I said this, Claire Roberts-Hickling. I said this in the grand final. If there's an NRL club looking for a good middle forward, WNRL club, like, wrap her up. Like, dead set. She's that good. Her running game, she's got a good offload. Defensively, she's strong and hard and tough. But look, from an overall game perspective, half-time, 6-all, was a great contest. And then, you know, the Nullingar Dubs showed their muscle or in the second half. And I'll tell you now, if they were using this as a warm-up competition to go to the big knockout, they got everything. They won it out of that tournament because they are going to be one hell of a team down at the big knockout, and they are going to take one hell of a team to beat them.
And credit, too, to the Dungutty side, you know, playing with 17 players. I think
all
13,
weekend.
14, 15, 15 grand.
But you know what? Here's one for you. In the final, they had 15
two
players.
on the bench.
Yeah, they had 2 on the bench.
And it was so hot. They've done an
to get to a
amazing
6-all halftime break, you know, position. Considering they had 16 players, and then to be down to 15 for the final, massive effort, mate. And those girls, I think, will go home. And I don't know how many of those girls will go to the Dungutty team to try and defend their title. But the Dungutty captain, it was Kat Jarrett last year, jumped ship. She's got a Gambangi women's team, a Dean Jarrett Memorial team, that she's now coaching, which he made us aware of on the weekend. But the Dungutty team, apparently they weren't going to go and back up their title, but they've come back together. They split, but they've come back together and they're going to try and give it another crack to go back to back. But I'm telling you now, if there are any changes to the Nullingar Dubs in their forward pack and outside backs that can make them better, I'm actually going to go out on a limb saying, mate, I'm going down. I'm going to go on Friday because I want to watch these Nullingar Dubs, mate. I think they are special. I think they're going to shake the camp, and they're going to be good. Yeah,
so congratulations to both sides there. The Nullingar Dubs United, they're taking the win.
And the Dungutty.
And the Dungutty Bideh.
Dungutty Dolphins.
Yes.
There you
and
go.
Congratulations, Daisy Gordon was named Player of the
Carnival. Oh, she was, mate. She was brilliant all weekend. I think she was closely shadowed by one of the, now legal players in the women's competition because she was illegal last year and she got the player of the tournament, which was Phoenix Hippi. She's now legal. Don't blame us. We had no control over it all last year, guys. I wasn't coordinating. Blame Ash Moran. So he was last year's coordinator. But listen, mate, she was Phoenix Hippi. And I know it was interesting to get Cac's view on her. I said, my prediction is she's NRL ready. Cac's view is she would be great to go into a pathway system and get some more development and then be ready. Cac, she's ready. She's ready. Like if there's a team out there now in the WNRL, and I'm watching that WNRL at week in, week out at the moment, I'm telling you now, Phoenix Hippi is the most ready Indigenous WNRL player I've ever seen if I haven't seen one before.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the men's, shall we?
Yep.
All right. So
sorry, before you go, Goffy, to back that up, mate, I just want you to go back over your video footage and bring up the Phoenix Hippi highlights, mate, and run that out and tell me if she's not NRL ready.
Okay, so we'll move into game 1.
So we jumped into the men's section, are we?
The men's section.
Geez, we're going straight to Saturday. I can't wait for this because, as I said, the footage will be coming out. The Big Fox highlights.
So in game 1, we had...
And commentary. I'm cutting you off everywhere tonight, mate.
We had the Murray...
You are the highlight of my competition. You are the highlight of the competition for me.
We had the Murray John Memorial up against GLC Memorial.
Family-orientated game. Very close game. 6 points difference in the end. And I'll tell you right now, the Gordon Cape Memorial were punching the line with like seconds remaining. And if they scored, they win the game because the first try scorer. Mate, it was a closely contested game. And as you know, Les, my money at the start was on Murray John Memorial. But I'll tell you now, that Moree side, I don't know how many of those blokes are playing in the in the Moree team going to the big knockout. But there's 4 or 5 blokes I would rip out of there right now and say, Cotton Wool boys, don't go to QMC, stay here and train and come with us to the big one. So, but anyway, all good.
Yeah, so game 2, Casino All Blacks. So this was game 2 over on field 2. Casino All Blacks versus the Yambora Roos.
The young Yambora Grant Brown Roos. I'm hearing, and I didn't watch the game because it was obviously commentary.
On field 2.
I'm hearing that they were outstanding in the first game and won convincingly to get through to round 2.
Nice win there to the Yambora Roos. And then we had the Torrens Descendants up against the Victor Wright and Edeley Vale Memorial.
Mate, I will say this. I thought the Edeley Vale Memorial team was going to be a pull together of a lot of good players, to which I think they were to a point. But, here's the but. The Torrens out of this world Descendants team were absolutely brilliant from game 1. They were outstanding. They showed me and everyone else at the knockout, we're here, we're ready, bring it on, and they went out and played that way. Every game they played, mate, they were outstanding.
And they eventually made it through to the final, but they got over there and won that game. And our next game was the Kabui Connection up against the Gumbangi Yangai.
Yeah, 10-all.
Yangai?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Gumbangi
my
Yangai.
apologies.
It was 10-all at 10-all at full time. First try scorer rule, and the first try scorer was Kabui Connection. There was a protest lodged, and in that protest, basically the protest was won in the end by the Gumbangi Yangai team, and the obviously when you win a protest or lose a protest, the team who wins or loses, the team who loses goes out, and the team who wins goes through.
Yep.
So they went through on that rule.
Yep. So they went through, and then we had Cabbage Tree Island up against the Murray. Oh, hang on a sec. Wait.
No, stay there.
There's games before that.
Oh, was it? Jeez. Yeah. I was disappointed.
The Muller Raiders versus the Nyambu.
That's your tribe, brother.
Everyone pronounces it different, and yeah.
Well, there's a few different There's Nyangbull, Nangbul, and Nangbul, and there's another one, Nangbul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's 3. But
my apologies.
But the reality is, from what I hear from the linguistics, is it's Nyangbull.
Yeah. Okay. So Nyambu brothers got through there against the Muller Raiders?
Yeah, mate, that was convincing. The Muller Raiders they were outclassed. I think it was a 44-0 scoreline.
What time here? Stony Gully versus Lismore Wanderers.
Stony Gully were up in that first game, and they won that game convincingly on ground 2. And then round 2 being Crazy Oval. Sorry for cutting you off again. I'm doing a lot of that tonight.
No, you're right.
No, you're getting pissed off with me.
And then we had Julie's Rabbitohs up against Torrens Connection.
That's a Torrens Descendants.
No, without
Connection.
Two sides.
Oh, sorry, yes. That was young Bucky's team.
Yep.
And I think was it, sorry?
Julie's Rabbitohs.
Julie's Rabbitohs got up in that game, mate.
Yep.
They were, Bucky had a lot of young blokes with him, plus a few of those blokes that he played rugby with this year and a few of the reserve grade boys from Casino. But the Julie's Rabbitohs were a Coffs Harbour team, the family team, all the Kelly connection from Coffs and Armidale, and I think they were great.
And then we had the Inverell Roosters up against Steve Williams Memorial.
Yeah, mate, interesting this game. The Inverell Roosters, they're another family team. The day before the competition, I got a phone call, or the night before, they had a significant family member pass away. They weren't going to come. They actually were going to forfeit. But they said, you know what? This could be the thing to get what happened off our mind. We probably need to, go away and have a bit of fun knowing what's just happened. And on the day, they rang me and they said, listen, we need a few other players. We put an announcement over the microphone saying that the Inverell Roosters were looking for players to help them, as they had a few players didn't come because of what happened with the Sorry business. Mm-hmm. And 4 players they picked up on that day, and they were up 4-0 at halftime. But the Steve O. Williams Memorial team apparently dominated the second half and come away with that victory to progress.
Okay, and then our next games were Cabbage Tree Island versus the Murray John Memorial side.
Please, Goffey, show this footage. I want you to give us a look at the Fox highlights. Just the Fox, cut him up onto his highlights, please, no one else.
Oh, no.
And also the commentary that followed in everything that he did. It's a bit like being mic'd. It was a bit like being mic'd up without the mic, but we were your mic, mate. Yeah. So
I've heard all about it.
Yeah.
I've heard
obviously, up against the Murray John Memorial, I'm just going to go straight out on it. The Murray John Memorial team, very, very good team. Blokes like, Ryan Walker,
Corey
McGrady, Willie Hammond Jr., Hezekiah McKenzie, Alan McKenzie, Akeem Brown, Jakeem Brown, Jaleel Brown, Sione Tonga, mate, the list goes on and on and on. Kyle Maui Binge, I thought they were going to dominate this game, but guess what? They very much underestimated the Cabbage Island team. I don't think they gave the Cabbage Island team the respect it deserved, and I'm just going to state it. They went out there and played like they started the game like they'd already won the game, and guess what? Cabbage Island just came over the top and they played some brilliant footy. I'm just going to state it. Young Des Anderson's game management, Des Ferguson, sorry Des, and his dad. Young Des Ferguson, I've seen something that I hadn't seen all year. What I seen in that game was the development of what he'd done during the season with Northern United, and what I liked about that development, his game management, his kicking game was on par. Like, it was brilliant. His selection on his passing was absolutely brilliant as well. But the way he steered the team... I'll tell you what, doesn't it look like Foxy? Look at the big Foxy.
He looks hot.
He looks big. I just want to say, Des, keep doing what you're doing, because I thought you were outstanding. And again...
80-metre intercept try.
Yeah, mate. And I'll tell you now, when he got to the try line, if you watch the video, I want you to specifically go back to that video, and I want Des to have a look at this. When he makes that intercept try, the break, and he gets to the try line, he jumps up, and when you get that thing called lactic. Find Willie Hammond. Have a look at his legs. Just zoom in on his legs.
Oh,
it's an intercept! His legs were shit.
It's an intercept, and I think he's gone.
I watched it just, and as soon as I know,
the chase is on. They're not going to get to him. They're keeping him wide.
His legs are wobbling.
He's down. Oh, they got him.
While he's walking.
Oh, he's pushed away.
Cabbage Tree Island. He couldn't go anymore.
Intercept.
Anyway, well done.
All the way to the line.
Great, brother.
The chase nearly got him. He brushed him off.
And the next game was the Country Coastal Brothers,
mate,
up against the Yambora Roos.
They schooled the young Roos. They had a batch of Queensland Cup players. They had 3 current NRL players in Braden Trindle. They had Braden McGrady. Who else did they have in there? Dane Laurie, just to name a few. They also had, I think, about 3 or 4 Queensland Cup players with them as well. So look, they were
good side.
Yeah, they were a good side, and they played that way. And I think the young Yambora Roos, I know Brownie, he's always emotionally invested in the games. I know he got a bit upset during the game, but that's more about his passion. Look, I will say this:
we had a good
young Yambora.
We had a good yarn with Brownie too, didn't we?
Yeah, mate, it was great. His highlight package is good as well. I'm just going to say this: those young Yambora Roos, stick together, keep working hard, stay true to yourselves and your community, and I'll guarantee in 3 to 4 years' time we're going to be talking about the Yambora Roos winning this knockout.
Yep, 100%. Mate, then we had the Tablum Turtle Divers up against the Torrens Descendants.
Mate, I'm just going to say the first 15 minutes I was like, holy dooly, they were whacking each other.
Game on.
But, mate, again, the Torrens Descendants team, Akeem Torrance, you had Corey Torrance, you had all the Torrances. The back row, I think he's playing back row for you in the big one, in Leon's young fella. James Torrance was absolutely. I'll tell you now, if they got through to the final, and won that final, James Torrance would have been player of the tournament. That's how good he was. Like he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and he was a big. Oh, well, we'll talk about the final in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about the final later. And then we had the Newcastle All Blacks up against the Gumbangi Yangay.
Mate, to be totally honest, very disappointed. I was thinking that the Newcastle All Blacks was going to bring it until they sing it. They didn't bring their voice, neither did they sing it. They brought a very young football team. They brought a lot of the sons and nephews of the current squad that won it last year. They had a good show early, but mate, Gumbangi Yangay were way too good. I think they ended up running away with it.
And then we had Cabbage Tree Island up against the Niable Brothers. Whitewash.
Cabbage Tree Island Whitewash.
Yep.
Yep.
And then the Country Coastal Brothers were up against.
Sorry, mate.
Did they play Stony Gully? Was it?
Sorry.
The Country Coastal Brothers.
Yeah, they played Stony Gully. Yeah, mate. So, look again, another whitewash. They won it convincingly, and I think the Walker boys had a pretty good 15 minutes, 10 minutes, but the Country Coastal Brothers were just far too strong, mate.
Yeah. And then the Torrens Descendants team up against Julie's Rabbitohs.
Mate, for the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought the Julie Rabbitohs were in it, and then bang, someone pressed the button in the Torrens Descendants team, and away they went, mate. And once they started, there were no pulling them back.
Yeah, and then we had the Steve Williams Memorial up against the Gumbangi Yangay side.
Mate, I'm going to say I'll say one name that really stood out for me in the Steve Williams Memorial. Trey Murray. Holy
Scored a couple of
dolly.
runaway tries.
I'll tell you
up
now,
the sideline.
if Trey Murray is around next year in Lismore and he's with Northern United again, that kid's playing first grade week in, week out. He was that good. He was brilliant.
He was really
I just like his attitude. He's a non-assuming sort of player, but he can pull things out of a hat, and his defence is just crunching.
I thought Timmy Torrance.
Big shout out, Timmy Torrance, mate. Timmy Torrance was his defensive efforts. He's the best defensive centre in this competition. I'm just going to go out on a limb. He's the best defensive centre I've seen for a very long time. His technique is the best technique I've seen for a bloke for a long time, mate. He's good.
And then we moved into the semi-final stage on Sunday.
Yep.
We had the Niable Brothers up against the Country Coastal Brothers. Now
Well, mate,
this was going to be a cracker, wasn't it?
And it was a cracker. I think for about 30 minutes or 35 minutes, it was pretty tight.
They moved up to 30-minute halves, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't they, Gingie?
Yeah, they did.
When you didn't think it was.
Yeah, I didn't think. Well, my mistake, guys. My
the coordinator.
But anyway, listen. Two very close, similar teams. NRL experiences, Queensland Cup experience in both teams. A lot of Northern United players for the Nine Ball Brothers this year. And, mate, as I said, a bell ringing game for 35 minutes. And then I'm just going to say Trindle stepped up and Dane Laurie. Those two just went, okay, game on, let's just turn the afterburners. And once they did that, mate, they had like the last 15 minutes, the Nine Ball Brothers were just looking to try and come back. The lead got away from them. But, mate, I can tell you that Nine Ball Brothers, that was a good, they were good. They were good all weekend. And I want to take my hats off to Alwyn and Willow and the guys that organised that team. Young Willow James. I'm just going to he was brilliant all weekend. That kid is a kid of the future. I think one more year under his belt playing grade in this competition, he's going to be ready to go on to further his career at NRL level at 21. I think he just needs to hone his game a bit more, and maybe playing another full season of first grade next year can go anywhere.
So the Country Coastal Brothers
progressed,
ended up
mate.
Too strong.
They
went through.
They went through.
So they were the team straight through to the final. And then the second semi-final was the Torrens Descendants team up against the Steve Williams Memorial side.
Mate,
This was
I thought Steve Williams and more. I actually, as you know, I had to leave the desk for a bit. And when I left the desk, 3 tries were scored, 18-0 to Steve Williams Memorial. And guess what? Trey Murray
up beside him.
scored the 3 of them. And then, I don't know what happened. I don't know whether it was a halftime break and a conversation that occurred. But from what I hear from you, Corey Torrance went out there and went to school. He said he basically
He was good. With
he
some
won
hard,
that second
with
half.
some nice hard running from his 2 back rows.
Yeah.
James Torrens out in the edge.
Yeah.
And then Hakeem Torrens around the ruck.
How good was Akeem all weekend?
He was good.
He's good. I don't know who he's playing with the big one, but he was good.
So the Torrens Descendants team, they were the next team through the final.
Yeah,
so,
mate, they were good.
So the final game
between
the
Torrance
Country
Descendants
Coastal
and the
Brothers
and the Torrance
Descendants.
Descendants. The only, mate, to be totally honest, and I think I said this to you, the Torrance Descendants team is the purest knockout team I've seen in a very long time. They play the purest form of knockout footy.
Just before you get into that, we both said before that game, when going back to that semi-final, that between the Steve Williams Memorial and the Torrance Descendants side, they both played a similar style game.
They did. They actually
And
did.
I think that's why that one went down to the wire.
Steve Williams,
too,
mate, and that's exactly right, mate. Both those teams are equally matched, equally talented, and played the same brand. So the 2 purest knockout teams out of the whole event was definitely the Steve O. Williams Memorial team and the Torrance Descendants. If either one of those teams went down to the big knockout, they'd actually go 2 or 3 games deep. That's how good they were.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure. I think the Torrance Descendants teams are going to fold now into Casino All Blacks and go down to the big one. I think if they do that, they're going to be very handy.
Well, Tablum Turtle Divers are also going.
Tablum Turtle Divers, so a couple of boys might go across to them. But, again, I think right up until half time it was pretty close. No one ran away with this. It was 30 minutes each way. And as you'll see in the footage from the tries that were scored by both teams, there was a turning point in the game, and I really believe it was. There was a break made by the Torrance Descendants team, and they had the Country Coastal Brothers under pressure. Akeem Torrance went through, supported the play, and then he got the ball in through the middle. Went 30 metres, and he got tackled in a tackle that looked a bit high, and it was high. He got penalised for a high shot. I think it was Linda McGrady, placed the Tweed Seagulls. And Akeem Torrance, that was it. Game over.
Yeah,
he actually went to hospital because of that head knock that he copped. So he's got 11 days to get over HIA, which will make him eligible to play in the knockout, obviously. But that was a turning point, because from that point forward, I didn't realise how integral he was at 9 to that team. But the minute he left, there was a difference. The 2 9s that they've got, the young bloke, what's the young kid's name that was the other hooker for Andrew. So young Andrew, Andy Bell, I think his name is. No, Andy. Yeah. So he's the other young kid that they were doing the tandem thing, and when Akeem wasn't there, that was gone, and that worked for them all weekend. So I think that was a turning point in the game, and from that point, the Country Coastal Brothers just went bang, afterburners. Yeah. It became the Dane Laurie show. We didn't. The only thing that I would say Braden Trindle did is game management. Joshy Toole, mate.
Sensational.
I don't know who Joshy Toole plays for. I don't know who he plays for during a season, or what competition he plays in. But
he has played with the Newcastle Hawks there, I believe, but I'm not too sure if he played there this year.
Okay, yeah, well, mate, I'll tell you,
that came in the competition.
He was brilliant, mate. He got player of the tournament, and deservedly. His efforts on and off the ball, his defence is great. Like he's a great defender, but his running game
all day,
he palms both hands
and then flicks,
and then he does this sort of stuff. Back in the day, question to you: was he a centre in the day?
He was a centre, yeah.
You can say that.
Centre.
Yeah, now he's a back row. And I think that's his spot. I think he'll get some longevity out of that. And the hooker, is that his brother?
Yeah, that's his brother,
Matty, yeah. So he played for Evans Head this year. What about your man? He only played like 3 minutes. No, he only played. Well, he was good.
He was good off the bench.
He was good off the bench. I'm not saying that because he's my young bloke, but he was good.
No, he was good off the bench.
Good. No, I'm talking about the other bloke.
Falabiel.
No, he actually didn't play too much footy.
Yeah, he's a bit quiet.
He was a bit quiet. No,
Who?
Roy Bell.
Oh, Roy Bell.
You got up him at the end.
Yeah.
Why?
Said he wasn't playing.
Is that why you got up him?
I didn't get up him. I said, you told me you weren't playing. He goes, yeah, you know me. I can't help myself.
Yeah, but let's be honest. He spurtingly played.
Managed himself well, I would say.
His comment to me and you is, how good did I manage myself? Because I think he said 3 minute stints? He mentioned the word 3 minute stint.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So well done, Belly.
Well, he did play a part in that game. He scored a nice little
Yeah,
try
mate,
there at the
yeah.
end.
But I think by that time the game was done.
Yeah.
He now becomes a part of, is it with you, Bogles?
Yes.
So he now becomes part of the Bogles system. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure how you're going to use him. You don't have to tell me this either. But how good would, he's the ideal 14. He's your Mr. Fix-It. Because now we know he can play fullback, but his fullback days are done. But he's turned himself into an interesting player. 6, 7, 9. So if you need one of those players in your knockout team, so I think he's going to offer you some really good service in those spaces. How you use him, I've got no idea, but he's my 14 if I was taking him. But anyway, not telling you what to do.
No, you never do.
I've got some other suggestions
So
for
there
you.
you go.
I've got some other suggestions for you, but let's leave that till next week.
Okay. So there you go, the 2023
Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout.
champions.
The only thing I will say,
champions were the Country
Coastal Brothers. Well done, congratulations. $15,000 deep, was it?
And as
Or
Chris,
$14,000 deep.
As Chris said, Josh Toole,
Player of the tournament. And the women's winners and champions was the Nullingar Dubs United. Brilliant.
Daisy Gordon, the player
Daisy
of the
Gordon,
tournament.
player of the tournament. Mate, what a 3 days it was, though. Like, let's
Great
be
3
honest.
days.
What about the crowds? How
was
big? Saturday, couldn't see a blade of grass.
No.
Grandstands, chockers. And we didn't go to Crozier Field, or I did.
I didn't, yeah.
But the grandstands over at Crozier Field, chockers. So
And luckily we couldn't use the outside because that would have been
chockers. There you go. So the whole weekend was chockers. Good. So I think I can't wait. To be totally honest, I know we've got a season ahead of us.
We've got to see there, but Lismore Knockout 2024.
Do you know what? I'm going to go
Total venue finished.
Total
It's
venue
gonna
finished.
be huge.
And I'll tell you something.
70,000 hits on YouTube. We're going to go to 170,000.
Yeah, next year. Oh, and
Especially
here's the other thing.
when the Bungeroy's team's in.
Oh, mate, everyone will be watching that game.
Is that what you call it?
Bungeroy Connections. Yeah, Bungeroy Connections. So watch out for that team too next year, Bungeroy Connections. Just watch out for that team next year, Bungeroy Connections. If it doesn't happen, don't blame me, but we're aiming for it. And guess who the major sponsor is for the team?
Mark Goff
Paying the $3,000 sponsorship. Mark Goff Media Sport, proudly sponsor of the Bungeroy Connection team. Great stuff, Goffy. We'll get your name everywhere, brother. We'll have shirts. We'll have beer holders. We'll have, backpacks. The Goffmeister will outfit us like to a T. We'll have the blue vests. We'll have everything. That being said, Les, you're going back to the venue. It was great this year, but next year, all completed, fully finished. You couldn't want for a better venue to hold a knockout.
No.
Had a chat with the committee last night in a bit of a debrief session. Here's one for the early birds. Next year's Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League knockout will be taking its capacity to 26 teams in the men's. 26 teams in the men's and 12 in the women's. So if we get to that capacity, because we're also going to have something we didn't have this year, is lights, cameras, actions. So we're going to be under lights as well next year for the women's event, and also on the Saturday for the men's event. So the addition next year is 20. We're going to capacity of 26 teams in the men's and 12 in the women's. If we do that, we're actually going to become the biggest knockout outside of
the two major.
No, the Koori knockout, because and
QMC.
It's bigger than the QMC.
Oh.
So the QMC in the men's draw tonight have 24 teams in the men's.
24.
And I think they had 8 teams in the women's.
It's not very many for the men's, is it?
24 teams in the mate, and that's you can go and have a look at that tonight.
And I think the knockout.
But the QMC starts this weekend.
I think the New South Wales knockout now is sitting at 62 teams. I believe
64 is a cat.
64 is a cat.
Bungeroy connection. No, not this year. Not for the big one. We'll
But
say.
mate, on another note with the knockout.
Yep.
Massive thank you to all the volunteers.
Oh, mate. The volunteers.
Absolutely outstanding over
The
weekend.
Northern United Rugby League Club volunteers. I'm going to say you are the best volunteers in any rugby league club or any sporting club I've ever seen. The canteen staff, absolutely sensational. The gate staff, absolutely sensational. The ground staff, brilliant. The commentary staff, out of this world. Absolutely. The media team, well.
Big.
Oh, you know what? We had the most experienced media team in the world. And you know how I know that?
How do you know?
Because the feedback from the crowd was, you've got the oldest media team in the world. I said, no, we've got the most experienced media team in the world that just happened to be older. And you know what I like about that? We're keeping the dream alive.
Yeah.
Because if I could do what these guys do at the age that these guys are, oh, God, we're going to be going good. Imagine me and you commentating when we're 70. Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, I feel tired already.
Oh, God. It's going to be a long time, Goffy. But, yeah, no, thanks to Mark Goff Media Sport for their, everything, for what they've done for us for the podcast, what they do for us, our media manager, Mark Goff, who is the head of Mark Goff Media Sport. Thank you for managing or taking over the new and skyrocketing careers of both Les and myself. I think without you, mate, we wouldn't be doing what we do. I think the podcast next year will be bigger, better, and more. How can you be even more entertaining than what we already are? But apparently, we're going to the stratosphere.
I wonder what countries we're going to go
we
to
went,
next year.
Well, we went worldwide. Actually, no, we went New Zealand and England wide in America.
I wonder if Goffy can do a live podcast from another country.
Goffrey,
and he takes us overseas.
Goff, can I just ask a question? And I'll get your honest answer. If we are telecast in China, will they pick it up in their language? Or do we have to learn Chinese?
They can translate it themselves.
Okay. So that's going to be the task, is we are going to go to China. I am going on a holiday at the end of the year, and it's going to be well deserved. In February next year, I'm going to Thailand for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Are we coming?
No, I'm actually going. I've been invited to go over with a rugby group. Oh, yeah. I know nothing about rugby other than
you won't get through the gate with your metal knee.
I honestly I don't know anything about rugby, and it's not. But I did play rugby. I never learnt the rules.
No.
I just played the same as
Evans had killer whales.
I guess yes, I did. I was 5'8". What do they call them? Fly half. Fly half for the killer whales. I actually made a New South. Oh, here's one for you. You didn't know this bit of trivia. Okay. I actually played New South Wales. I made New South Wales schoolboys rugby union team.
There you go.
Opens.
There's a bit of trivia about the Ginger. I didn't know.
Yeah, mate. And I will still today. We'll say this. I'll go on. I had no idea what.
Were they struggling?
No, they weren't. That was actually good, mate. I'll tell you. There's about the team that I played in. I think that 4 Wallabies were produced with the bloke that I played with. And you know what my downfall was?
What?
I'm so stupid because I loved rugby league so much. I could have stayed in rugby and had no injuries. I could have got through my whole career unscathed. Could have made a crap load of money. Yeah. And guess what?
What?
For doing nothing, because that's what they do in rugby, nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so look.
Beautiful.
That's a bit of trivia for anyone. If you want to know about the Gingie. So I did play New South Wales schoolboys.
It was on the back of the bottle cap, that one.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Next year, here we go.
Oh, hey, I will say, what was the young lady's name? Alexandra from NBN, the new sports reporter for NBN. Mate, my apologies, my dear. I thought you were pranking me, or I thought someone was pranking me. And
you thought it was the big fox.
I literally had this. This is Foxy. This is what happened. NBN had rang Mark Goff Media Sport to do, or there was an interview lined up for the knockout last week on a Thursday. I got the phone call, first one to let ring out, then I played it back and listened to the message, and she said, "Hey, I'm Alexandria, I'm from NBN." That's it. Didn't say what she wanted. So the next time she rings, I answer the phone and I go, hey, she goes, "Hey, Chris," and I said, "Hey, how you going?" And she said, "Oh, it's Alexandria from NBN." And I said, "Sorry, no comment," and hung up.
Thought it was a G up.
I got a phone call back from the Golfmeister. "Did you hang up on the young lady from NBN?" I said, "Yep, she wanted a story. She's not getting anything out of me." And he said, "You idiot. She's wanting a story about the knockout." And I'll tell you what, I haven't been so fast on my phone in my life. I just went bang, recall. "Sorry, Alexandria, I made a mistake." But anyway, Alexandria from NBN, mate, my apologies. Anytime in the future, mate, I'm happy to be a part of any of those media sports reports or interviews. Please ring me up and I won't hang up next time.
So that's it, mate. That's a 2023
So that's it. Yeah, they're
Lismore knockout.
Aboriginal Rugby League knockout.
Right.
So I just want to know, before we go, I want to know, are you playing at the big knockout?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Who with?
Just maybe. That's all I'm
Boggles.
going to say. No, definitely not.
If you're not playing with them, if you're playing with someone else, how can you?
It's all going to depend on what happens with my
How can
team.
you play with Boggles and then be a part of the Boggles team, and then play with someone else?
Ginge,
No, I'm being honest.
they got to play at different times of the day.
Yeah, but come on, mate.
I said maybe.
I'm just going to make one recommendation.
Okay, we're moving on from this.
I'm just going to make one. I need to make one recommendation.
Don't play.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't play, I will supply you with water and other food aids that will help you through the weekend.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you will make me a very happy man.
Okay.
Okay. Like, I know why you're going to play with the other team. I understand that. But I'm saying, not that you can't. I'm saying that I think your time could be better spent.
Okay.
We're not commentating on
Okay, let's move on now.
Before we go,
Yeah, before we go.
Well,
got to say, 3 days are the best days that my company and my staff have had. Crowd were excellent.
we can't hear you, by the way. In the podcast can't hear you, so you need to talk a bit louder.
Commentary team, excellent. Mate, referees, average.
No, they were good, you idiot. The referees were brilliant.
Except for Paul Ladder and Josh Golding. The rest of them,
No, they were all brilliant. Every one of you guys that put a white shirt on and went out and officiated a game, thank you from every aspect of the way that the weekend was. I think without you, we couldn't do it anyway.
The Goff said, for those of you who didn't know, the Goff said it was a great 3-day carnival. He wants to thank everybody from the ground staff, canteen staff, the media team. What a great 3 days it was.
it was a great day. It was enjoyable. It was a pleasure to go to a place where there was no arguments, no fighting in the crowd, and so people can have fun with alcohol.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mate, it was an
All
alcohol.
round
Well,
beautiful
I'll actually
weekend.
say that it was an alcohol and drug-free event. That doesn't mean that it was the alcohol and the drugs were free. There was no drugs there, and then there was actually no alcohol. But it just meant that it was an event where it was all of that was not involved. So you once you're through the gate, well, you actually couldn't come in if you're intoxicated. So they were the rules of the event, which I think makes for a great family day, great community day, like Goffy said, and it makes for a great event in its entirety. So yeah, no, thank you, Goffy.
Beautiful.
So, mate,
So we're coming
thank
back
you.
for one more
We're
episode.
coming back for one more episode of the Gingie and Foxy podcast, and that will be the Wednesday.
2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time. We might even see if Goffy can work out the live feed by then. And if he does work out the live feed, we will be coming to you live and into your lounge rooms, off the cuff, and we'll be running. We'll be talking. I was just about to say we'll be running down.
What do you wanna-
I might even give you a live view unit and a camera to take to Newcastle with you,
There you go.
where you can plug into the picture and send it back to us, and we can record it here. So when you come back, we can have all your.
I'll do some live interviews.
You don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about shooting.
So can I go around and do some live interviews, like me and the Foxy, you know, and
A live view unit, all you do is plug into it, send it back to us. We'll
you hook us up, Goffy, and we will be at the knockout
show you how to do it.
officially in our roles, which I haven't got it, by the way. I'm just down there supporting anyone. I'm gonna do something I've never done in a knockout before.
Kick back and watch.
Kick back and watch.
Right time.
If anyone, I can't run water. My
Sit
knees,
back and enjoy yourself. I
Um,
told you that.
but I think I might have to get a replacement of my replacement. My knee I'm talking about. So we will do that, Goffy. We'll take you up on the challenge, and if you can hook me up, I'm going to get out there, get about, and do some yarning and bring some footage back for you, or however you want to do it, live or whatever. Yeah, there you go. Well, and you can just hook us up, Eddie, and we'll go from there. So last thing before I shut down, any shout outs, Foxmeister?
Mate, I had a heap of shout outs on the weekend that I didn't get round to, and my apologies.
I've got
to
one.
Everyone.
I've got one. I need to do this.
My apologies to everyone. I'm gonna save that for next week because I'm gonna go through them and I'm gonna write them all down and I'm gonna give you shout outs next week properly because I don't want to miss any of them. You got some, have you? I've
got one. I need to do this one tonight, Goffy, and it's a real blast for me to be able to do this. I'm just Shane Robinson, you know Robbo.
Yep.
So Robbo from up at Tweed Coast Raiders basically contacted me on the weekend, and there's a young lady. Just give me a chance here, Les, to find this. There's a young lady that basically played junior league for Kyogle.
Oh yeah.
And she copped a bit of a knock in the game. So I want to put a big shout out to the young lady from Kyogle Turkeys. Her name is Indy Rose Simpson. Indy Rose, a big shout out from the Gingie and the Fox. We hope you get well soon and recover from your knock in the grand final. We know you're an avid watcher of the podcast. We also know that you're an avid watcher of the Indigenous Rugby League space. So we a big shout out from the Gingie, being me, and the Foxy, and Mark from our media sports. We wish you all the best in your recovery. Hope you get well. We know you copped a pretty big knock on your cheekbone. And we hope you a quick recovery. And don't give up on the game. Stay in the game. Stay in touch with the Gingie and the Fox. You can contact us through the Gingie and Foxy Facebook site and let us know and keep us updated on how you're going. And also through the Mark Goff Media Sports site as well. So, Indy,
all the best.
All the best, mate. We hope you're in a quick recovery. I think you've got you broke your eye socket in 5 places.
Ouch.
In the grand final last week over at Kyogle, and you're playing for the Kyogle Turkey. So, Indy Rose Simpson, big shout out, Gingie and the Fox from the
Knockout
NRL and Knockout Rap
and Triple RL.
That, my friends, is a podcast wrap.